What is good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today's topic will be how you can hit your first 10K a month using prop firms. And for that, we will reverse engineer the entire process from what profit you have to get all the way down into all the details. As mentioned already, if you want to make 10K, you obviously have to make 12.5K in profits since we have an 80% profit split, and therefore to make 10K into your pocket, you actually have to make 12.5K. Now let's get into the steps where we reverse engineer the entire process. Now step one is the account size. And the important thing here you have to realize is that making 10K is not a question of making lots of profits RR-wise, but actually having the correct account size, right? Because obviously it's much easier to trade a bigger account and make less profits than trade a smaller account, but therefore make even more profits. And as you can see, if you have a 100K account, you need to make 12.5%, while on a 400K account, you only would have to make 3.1%, right? And as you can see, prop firms are overall giving you more leverage for your money. You get more capital, and therefore the entire game becomes easier. Now, the next step blends into that one. You actually have to understand what prop firms are used for and how do you have to view them in your trading. So overall, prop firms pretty much give you more margin for your money if you have the skill set, right? If you don't have a system with an edge, then obviously buying a challenge won't get you anywhere because you will blow challenge after challenge, and also even if you get funded, getting a payout becomes obviously quite hard. So the most important thing you need to have is a system which you can follow consistently day in, day out, week by week, and obviously over the months. But once you have that skill set, then you can pretty much leverage your entire skill with prop firms. That's also why only a few people make money off prop firms, but those who do, they make quite decent money. Now for a standard 100K challenge, you usually have to pay $500, but in return you get basically a 10K account with 10K margin. Now you don't get the 100K, right? That's obviously just the marketing. What you actually get is the 10% drawdown you have on that account being then the 10K. So pretty much you get 20x leverage in total, which you pay upfront. That's a total risk. And if you know how to use it, you can pretty much trade 10K with the margin you have on that account. Now, obviously, once you are funded, you want to keep that account also for as long as possible. You also don't want to treat it like a personal account. I see many people approaching prop firms risking like 0.2, 0.1% risk, which you can obviously do, but you miss the point of prop firms, which is to milk them as much as possible, while also finding the balance between milking them and keeping them for as long as possible. Now let's get to step 3 and 4. So we already talked about how much risk reward you need. You can see already with only 3% you can make 10K a month, but obviously at the beginning you probably won't start out with a 4K account and you have to scale there over time. But even 100K or 200K, which are realistic depending on your income levels, you already have quite decent chance to come close to the 5-figure number. Now, to give you an idea of how many trades you actually would need to hit that amount of returns, I have here 2 examples. We have trader A, who takes 10 trades a month. He has a win rate of 60%, makes 2R on average on his wins, and in total that would come out with 8R, right? Now on a 4K account, you can do the math on your own, but you see that's already quite decent. Now obviously 8R a month is for most people really hard to attain consistently. You definitely can if you have the skill set. In the last 3 months, I did actually in each month about 10R. Now, if you hit 10R on June, July 9.8, and then August we have 12.3. But currently, for example, in September, I'm sitting at about 1R so far, and we have the 13th right now. As you can see, not each month you will make the same amount of profits. In some months you make less, in others a bit more. And also all of those setups which are journaled here have been shared live in the Discord before. And as you guys know, the bootcamp is coming up in October. So if you want to join the waitlist before signups go live next week, you can join with the link down below. But yeah, with that being said, let's get back to step 3. If you also take another trader who, for example, has lower win rate, but therefore aims for a bit higher risk reward, you can see here, even here with 4 wins, so you lose more than you win, you can still make 6R a month. And even if you don't come close to those numbers and you make like 3, 4, 5R, those are still top tier numbers, but obviously you would need a 200k or 400k account to hit those 5 figures a month. Then step 4, you obviously do need a system, and you also need to know the exact numbers behind that system, meaning you have to know what is my A plus setup, where for example can pyramid into, what is my A setup, what is my B setups, which setups do I cut off entirely, and all of those things. Then also you have to know how many trades can I expect on average per month and per week. Obviously some months you will have more, others less, but overall you should know in what range, how many setups do I get per month. For me it's usually between 5 to 15, 5 on like a bad month, 15 on like a good month, and 10 on like an average month, right? Then let's go to step 5, the trade frequency. As already mentioned, I only take usually 5 to 15 trades a month, and that is also way enough to hit a decent amount of profits per month. And especially if you have like an A plus setup, which allows you to pyramid with multiple positions into the same setup, then sometimes I make on one trade idea 5, 6, 7, or 8R in one trade. Obviously, you have to know, as mentioned, exactly which setups qualify for that, which ones don't, how to properly pyramid into a setup while keeping your risk the same. You can also watch the video I made on pyramiding. But yeah, those ones obviously happen not that often. For me, usually 1 to 4 times a month, depending again on how good this month performs. But let me tell you one thing, if you have one of those setups per month, maybe 2, where you can pyramid into, then those months really make you entire month, right? Because they can either erase a losing streak or they can make you the profits for usually 2, 3 setups. And as mentioned, you have to be patient to wait for those types of setups. And then once you have been selected, you also need to have the guts to be aggressive once your edge is on the table. Then step 6, you obviously need to have a funded account, meaning you have to pass a challenge. In the challenge phase, the goal is to pass or blow quick. The worst thing you can do is wasting months in a challenge or weeks in the same challenge, because by the time you can trade out of drawdown on an old challenge, you could have already passed an entire new evaluation account. Meaning in this case, you rather go with small accounts which you can afford easily to buy if you blow it. Again, this doesn't mean you should gamble each account, but it should allow you to always purchase an account once you've blown an account, or in the best case, obviously, once you passed one and want to add more capital. In this case, you also want to calculate your optimal challenge size. And for that, you have to know 2 things. First of all, how much money can I spend per month on challenges? And the second thing is, how many setups will I get on average per month? And then depending on your capital, what you have to invest into prop firms per month, then you can determine the proper account size. And again, you want to pass or fail quickly. Don't try to trade out of drawdown by reducing your risk to like a really small number. That only will get you stuck in a challenge and you will waste lots of opportunity costs when it comes to time efficiency. Then step 7, once you have the funded account, the goal is obviously to 1, milk them as much as possible, but on the other side, you obviously also want to keep that account for as long as possible, right? Ideally, you get as many payouts as possible so that your return on investment, which is the initial sign-up fee, is as high as possible. And for that, I do it in this way. I usually start the account with 0.25 to 0.5%. Why? Because then I allow myself to build a cushion, and even if I have some losing trades, I'm still only in drawdown for maybe 1%, right? And I need 2 good trades to be back at break even. But then once I have built like a 2% cushion, I then increase my risk to 0.5 to 1%, then take 1 or 2 good trades and then get a payout. And then I repeat that on all of my accounts. Now, again, what do you want to do with those payouts? You obviously want to put money aside for your taxes, right? That's what most people forget. Or you move to Dubai, like I did. But yeah, scaling, you taxes, and then the other part you can invest into more challenges and also really important to allocate money into your personal account, which you then can grow over time and eventually will become independent from prop firms. And that's pretty much the entire blueprint on what you have to know about funded accounts and how to hit your first 5-figure month. So I hope you could take something away from that video, and see you all in the next one.